Right now at 7, the Department of Corrections in search of a wanted person of interest. The details ahead.
Be seeing just some light precipitation this week. I'll talk more in detail about your entire upcoming week forecast coming up.
And the latest updates in the charges against Sun Prairie West High School staff members. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on your Sunday. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn, and you are watching Weekend Mornings. We begin today with breaking news. Now to an update on the developing pursuit in Monona. We reported yesterday morning officers have identified the wanted person of interest who turned off the headlights and fled the scene after crashing. On Friday, Monona PD received a mutual aid request from Madison Police after an SUV rolled over, closing the belt line. A Kia sedan had crashed into the SUV, the driver fleeing the scene. That Kia was previously reported stolen. Then just before 2 a.m. Saturday, Monona police attempted to stop a speeding vehicle westbound on the Beltline, the suspect turning off the tail and headlights. Monona PD stating it is believed that the suspect left the car in gear, allowing it to roll through a section of field before coming to a rest against the back of a garage structure. Officers had ended the pursuit after the suspect avoided multiple traffic deflation devices and later found the vehicle rolled into the building on Buick Drive. Monona PD located drugs, including a distribution quantity of cocaine, oxycodone, and other paraphernalia. The suspect, 28-year-old Chandrell Evans, is sought in connection with drug distribution and wanted on a full extradition warrant from the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. Monona police say Evans is considered a violent offender, currently serving a sentence for felony convictions, including reckless endangering, eluding police, and felony narcotics conviction. Police urge anyone who sees him not to approach, but immediately contact authorities or Madison area Crime Stoppers. That information is on your screen now. Tipsters with information on his whereabouts can remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward. As always, we'll keep you updated on air and online as more details develop. Just download the Channel 3000 app. You can find it wherever you get your apps. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano live from our studio in Madison. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle Renee. Taking a look at the current radar, not really seeing much, and this is kind of going to be what we see for a lot of this week. Now, despite that, temperatures will be a little up and down, but today they're going to be very close to normal. Right now, temperatures are in the middle 20s, so a little bit warmer compared to what we normally see during the morning in January. But throughout the day, we're going to continue to see some northwesterly winds, and that's going to keep the temperatures from rising too much. Right now, sustained winds between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Nothing insanely gusty, but certainly noticeable if you step outside. And with the colder temperatures, you could feel the chill in the air. And as we take a look at the temperatures throughout the day, relatively steady despite the sunshine. It's because we're going to see just that northwesterly wind and westerly wind just kind of remain consistent throughout the day. Similar forecast for La Crosse, maybe a little bit more cloud cover and temperatures not quite as mild as Madison. Could see highs near 30, probably going to stay in the upper 20s for La Crosse. But I'll talk more in detail about these temperatures that will continue to warm up before crashing back down. Details on all of that coming up a bit later.
Always this Midwest back and forth. Thanks, Jacob. Tensions are rising nationwide amid protests against ICE following the death of Renee Good. Reports federal officials have released new video of the moments leading up to the deadly encounter, and Christian Benavides brings you the details.
What's her name? Say her name!
For yet another day, there were nationwide protests against immigration and customs enforcement following the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good.
ICE is out here kidnapping our neighbors, murdering our neighbors, and terrorizing the most vulnerable working class members of our society, and we're all here to say no more. Enough is enough.
In Minnesota, thousands braved sub-zero temperatures while the demonstrations led to clashes with police and arrests in some cities such as Austin, Texas, and in Los Angeles. For their part, federal officials released new video of the shooting they say shows Good was allegedly impeding agents immediately before the deadly confrontation.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Out of the car. Get out of the
ICE says their agent was forced to fire in self-defense. On Saturday, Minnesota Democratic lawmakers tried to visit an ICE facility but said they were denied access.
It would do a lot to bring down the temperature if they would allow us access so that we could show Minnesotans what is happening so there could be more transparency, and we were denied that.
The Department of Homeland Security said members of Congress must give 7 days notice for congressional visits and that they were out of compliance. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Now to continuing coverage of the charges at Sun Prairie West High School. Sun Prairie police are announcing charges against former principal Jennifer Ploger. She's accused of failing to report child abuse. This following the arrest of the former dean for child sex crime charges. Charges were also referred against Sun Prairie School District Director of Human Resources Chris Slater for failure to report child abuse. But the district attorney is not pursuing those charges right now. Sun Prairie West parents say they're shocked at how the situation was handled. Investigation materials show the abusive situations began as early as 2023 and were investigated by Ploger and assistant principal Ed Ford. However, they were dismissed as rumors, and a student who tried to come forward with information was punished with suspension. Gilky Meisengeyer was arrested last year and charged with 13 counts of possession of child pornography and 2 counts of child sexual exploitation. The investigators who reviewed the case following Gilky Meissengeyer's arrest are now recommending a thorough Title IX review at Sun Prairie West. Let's check in now with Jacob. He's got our high temperature history.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. As we've been talking about, the last couple of weeks have been pretty all over the place. We've seen those temperatures very cold at the start of 2026, but the first full week, we got into the 50s last Thursday and Friday, and so that's led to a very mild start overall to 2026. Taking a look at the January temperatures so far, we are 6.5 degrees above normal. Now, we're going to have kind of that up and down temperature forecast continue for the next week. But what we're not going to have is the rain that's been kind of accompanied these up and down temperatures. So far this month, we have had over an inch of rainfall, and this is typically the driest time of the year because snowfall doesn't really equivalent to a lot of actual moisture, and that's included even when it snows. We've had a lot of just regular rainfall, and that's been creating above normal precipitation. We're not really going to see a lot of that this week. So I'll continue talking more details about what the temperatures that are expected this week, along with those precipitation chances, still coming up after this next break.
All right, thank you, Jacob. The federal government will start garnishing wages of some of those who are in default on repaying federal student loans. The garnishments will come through paycheck deductions of up to 15% after tax income. The groups affected by this change are small now, but notifications will go to borrowers in progressively larger groups. Borrowers are considered in default after failing to make payments and restore a loan to good standing after a period of 270 days or nearly 9 months. Once in default, the entire remaining balance becomes due immediately. Here are a few tips if you're in this situation. The department must send borrowers a 30-day notice before garnishing wages. The notices cover how you can address the loan and seek a hearing to dispute garnishments. If you are not in default but delinquent, there are several income-driven repayment plans available, including income-based repayment, income contingent repayment, and pay as you earn. Experts say those plans require much smaller payments. Time now, 7:09, still ahead. We hear from Joel Brennan in the race for governor. Plus, here's a look at your road conditions this morning. When we return, Jacob brings you your full forecast on Weekend Mornings.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. For the first time in more than 15 years, the race for the governor's seat is wide open as Tony Evers is not seeking election. Joel Brennan, the former secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Administration, announced his campaign 1 month ago. He served under Governor Tony Evers from 2019 to 2022. In his campaign announcement video, Brennan listed housing and healthcare affordability concerns as top priorities for his campaign.
One of the ways I think it's going to be very different, that I can be a different kind of governor than Tony Evers has been, is I'll be able to be on the offensive a little bit more. There are things that he's been unable to do and been thwarted in the legislature by that we can do. The number one thing is expanding Medicaid, and expanding Badger Care.
Brennan joins a large Democratic primary field. So far, 9 candidates are in the race. On the Republican side, there are 3 candidates. You can hear Brennan's plans on fundraising competitively this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record. And we want to make sure you know what to expect as you're walking out of the door this morning. Jacob Montesano is here with your 3 things to know. That bottom line, what are we expecting?
Well, it's going to be a quiet day today, and for the most part, quiet all week in terms of the lack of precipitation, but we'll see warmer temperatures from Monday, Tuesday, then colder temperatures once we get towards the end of the week, with just a few small chances of some precipitation throughout. Now, today, highs will be in the upper 20s, some lower 30s, as we will see a good amount of sunshine. And we're not going to see much precipitation of any today. Maybe some light snow in the evening for central and northern Wisconsin, but southern Wisconsin almost certainly going to be dry, and we'll continue to see some breezy conditions overnight, which will allow temperatures to not really fall all that much. We'll have lows in the middle 20s and then 40s for highs for a lot of the area tomorrow, right around 40 for highs, and we're going to see plenty of sunshine, and once again, not expecting any precipitation. Middle 40s then Tuesday, but we are going to see those temperatures fall for Wednesday with highs near 30 to end the work week, then highs near 20 to the upper teens for the weekend and next week. So we are going to see those bitter cold temperatures return, so definitely take advantage of the temperatures tomorrow and Tuesday, as it will be a very mild day for January standards. Looking at the precipitation chances, again, later this evening we'll see some passing snow showers for central and northern Wisconsin. Madison, very likely to stay dry, and even areas north of Madison, you'd have to get closer to Wausau before we do see a better chance of snow. And even northern Wisconsin, not going to see much accumulation from it. Now, as we get to late Monday night, we'll see some light rain move through the area. Once again, some snow possible for northern Wisconsin. Should still be pretty dry for southern Wisconsin. Wednesday, there's a little bit of a better chance of some precipitation, but right now the snow does look to be pretty light. Maybe some light dusting to a ½ inch of snow. Not really going to see much accumulation. A little bit of a bigger system possible Thursday into Friday as this tracks through the Midwest. Still not really looking too confident in high snowfall totals, but certainly some passing snow showers will be possible as we get into the day on Friday. And as we take a look at the full 10-day forecast, we will see the temperatures fall by the middle of the week, and that will be accompanied by some windy conditions. So on and off chances of precipitation for Monday night through Wednesday. A little bit of a better chance of that snowfall for Friday, but at this point in time, we're still not expecting any big systems across the region. But those temperatures will be a little all over the place despite that.
All right, thank you, Jacob. And now to today's morning motivational quote from Demi Lovato.
Nothing is more beautiful than the smile that has struggled through the tears. And this kind of feeds off of a lot of our morning motivational quotes where it's always about getting past the hard stuff. You just got to push through, and eventually things will get a lot easier.
Yes, they will. We are sending you strength and courage, and even if you cry a little, that's okay. You got this. Work towards that smile. Keep it here. Ahead, we're talking about exclusive experiences at the theater. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
The Overture Center says that musicals are for all people of all abilities. And our video photographer Lance Height shows us how a tactile experience helped members of our community feel included.
We're going to divide in 3 groups. And
what we're experiencing today is called a tactile tour. So in a tactile tour, we bring guests in who have some sort of visual impairment level that could be low vision, could be fully blind, and they're coming in to basically touch some set pieces and props and costumes.
This is Hamilton's silk jacket
from our Broadway shows so that they can better understand the world of the show.
He wears this at the top of that too.
And this is all part of Overture's plan to really try to make extraordinary experiences for all people that come through our door. We want everybody to feel welcome.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I actually, I kind of skipped school this afternoon. We left in the afternoon, and I kept telling everyone I have a really important appointment. I need to leave for my appointment. I have seen Hamilton 4 times. It's my favorite show of all time, hands down. And which dress is this?
This is what she wears for Schuyler Sisters.
Okay, that's what I thought, yep. And so getting to actually see or feel the costumes to the same level that my sighted audience counterparts can is really important to me. We get shoes, people.
Makers.
I'm just seeing colored blobs. I'm seeing, a blue blob is Eliza, and a dark green blob is Hamilton. And I know that those colors are those people, and now I finally get to understand the details. You can feel they're kind of like embroidered. It really becomes a multi-sensory experience for me going to theater. as opposed to just listening to the music.
It has a cross at the top.
We've had a ton of our guests tell us that, they kind of gave up on Broadway, that they just didn't think that after this new stage in their life, they're really, can get much from a Broadway show. And my favorite response when we're doing these tactile tours.
What other costumes are on there?
To hear people say, I'm going to come back and experience another show here because I feel like it's pertinent to me again.
The Overture Center says this experience is open to anyone, and you can go to their website or their ticket office to learn more about their next Tactile event. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. He's live tracking future wind gusts.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. We are going to continue to see these breezy conditions just kind of persist for the rest of today and tonight and also tomorrow. Now, they will get a little bit better compared to this morning during the afternoon, but then they're going to pick back up a little bit overnight. But the winds overnight will actually help those temperatures from dropping too far. So the winds will actually be kind of a good thing for our area. And then we'll continue to see some breezy weather Monday, not as bad Monday. And when we do see those winds, they will be out of the southwest, which will help those temperatures warm up. So as we take a look at those high temperature trends once again, 40s for tomorrow and Tuesday with colder temperatures by the end of the week. And unfortunately, the winds are going to shift Tuesday into Wednesday, and it will get pretty gusty specifically on Wednesday. So for now, the winds are going to be a little bit of a good thing, especially tomorrow, but then they will turn into a little bit more of a negative once we see those temperatures fall.
Jacob, thank you. Still ahead, I don't have a playlist pick to share, so you guys need to help me out. Send me a song with the subject playlist pick. That's to Mr. Quinn at WISCTV.com, and tune in around this time on weekend mornings to hear your song. We'll be right back after the break. Right now at 6:30, the Department of Corrections in search of a wanted person of interest. The details ahead.
Plus, we're going to see temperatures pretty up and down throughout the week. I'll talk more about it coming up.
And we hear from our team down in Chicago after a tough loss for our green and gold. Well, good Sunday morning. You're watching Weekend Mornings. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings. It is Sunday, January 11th, and I'm sure many people will be waking up thinking about that Bears-Packers game. I certainly am one of them. And
you're waking up feeling like a winner, though, unlike most of our Wisconsinites.
Now, for me, though, I don't know. I mentioned this earlier. Back in September, I bought Hamilton tickets for last night's show, and I still went. But I wanted to experience the game like it was live.
Yes.
So I watched the recording on Amazon Prime, but during intermission and leaving, I just put in AirPods, listened to music, because my wife was telling me, yeah, everyone around you is talking about it. Keep the AirPods in.
Absolutely. It's the talk of the town, and this rivalry is a big deal.
Yeah, I got home and watched the game, and I feel like Buddy the Elf when he says, I got a good 40 minutes of sleep.
But you still got that energy.
But I did not have time to build a rocking chair, unfortunately.
No
if you know the quote from Elf.
From Elf, yes. But let's check in with Nash because he was there and has more.
Last night lived up to the hype. An NFC North thriller in the playoffs. The Packers took a 21-3 lead heading into the half, but then came the big bad Bears. Chicago took a 31-27 lead with 1:43 left, giving the Packers one final look at saving their season, but Jordan Love's final heave falls incomplete, and the Packers lose a heartbreaker.
Oh man, it's tough and very disappointing. I think everybody in that locker room feels the same way. We had a game where, we couldn't finish it and let a team come back and beat us. So it's very disappointing to end the season on a note like that. And, we didn't do a good enough job overcoming that stuff. And I think we just hurt ourselves too many times.
The Packers' season comes to a disappointing end. And as Matt LaFleur said, this one is going to hurt for a really, really long time. At Soldier Field, Nash Dara, News 3 Sports.
Thanks, Nash. You can find a digital exclusive about the game with sports director Andrew Banstra and senior Packers writer Jason Wilde on channel3000.com. Now, let's get you ready for your Sunday. Jacob Montesano has your temps. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Michelle Renee. Temperatures certainly are on the colder side, but not too cold out there. We're having temperatures in the middle 20s, which are actually above normal compared to the average lows for January, but we are also seeing a little bit of winds. Excuse me, I'm okay. We are seeing a little bit of wind speeds around 10 to 20 miles per hour, so it's making it feel just a little bit colder. But the winds will actually turn into a positive tomorrow as they will warm up the temperatures and they'll shift out of the southwest. But today, they're going to kind of cap those temperatures from rising too high. Despite the sunshine, we're only going to have highs near 30. Very typical January day, and we're pretty much expecting no chance of snow. So that is the good news. And looking at La Crosse's forecast, pretty similarly, but a little bit more cloud cover and just a tad bit cooler for La Crosse. Still very January-like, but it will get pretty mild to start the work week. But then that's going to be followed by some very cold temperatures. So I'll talk all about those temperature swings coming up a little bit later.
Jacob, thank you. Now to an update on the developing pursuit in Monona we reported yesterday morning. Officers have identified the wanted person of interest who turned off their headlights and fled the scene after crashing. On Friday, Monona PD received a mutual aid request from Madison Police after an SUV rolled over, closing the Beltline. A Kia sedan had crashed into the SUV, the driver fleeing the scene. That Kia was previously reported stolen. Then just before 2 a.m. Saturday, Monona Police attempted to stop a speeding vehicle westbound on the Beltline, the suspect turning off the tail and headlights. Monona PD stating, quote, "It is believed that the suspect left the car in gear, allowing it to roll through a section of field before coming to a rest against the back of a garage structure." Officers had ended the pursuit after the suspect avoided multiple traffic deflation devices and later found the vehicle rolled into the building on Buick Drive. Monona PD located drugs, including a distribution quantity of cocaine, oxycodone, and other paraphernalia. The suspect, 28-year-old Chandrell Evans, is sought in connection with drug distribution and wanted on a full extradition warrant from the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. Monona police say Evans is considered a violent offender, currently serving a sentence for felony convictions, including reckless endangering, eluding police, and felony narcotics conviction. Police are urging anyone who sees him not to approach, but immediately contact authorities or Madison area Crime Stoppers. The information is on your screen now. Tipsters with information on his whereabouts can remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward. As always, we'll keep you updated on air and online as more details develop. Just download the Channel 3000 News app and you'll get those push alerts as soon as they happen. It's free to download. Just search Channel 3000 in your phone's app store. And more top stories. For yet another day, there were nationwide protests against immigration and customs enforcement following the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good. In Minnesota, thousands braved sub-zero temperatures while the demonstrations led to clashes with police and arrests in some cities such as Austin, Texas, and Los Angeles. Federal officials released new video of the shooting. They say it shows Good was allegedly impeding agents immediately before the deadly confrontation. ICE says their agents was forced to fire in self-defense. Yesterday, Minnesota Democratic lawmakers tried to visit an ICE facility but said they were denied access.
It would do a lot to bring down the temperature if they would allow us access so that we could show Minnesotans what is happening so there could be more transparency, and we were denied that.
The Department of Homeland Security said members of Congress must give 7 days notice for congressional visits and that they were out of compliance. On social media, DHS has called Renee Good an anti-ICE agitator. More protests are expected to take place today here in Madison. And more local news this morning. Heads up if you're driving to downtown Madison this week, a portion of Lake Street will close for crane removal. That closure will run tomorrow until the 16th between University Avenue and State Street. That's where the USPS office and University Bookstore are. The crane was put up as part of the City of Madison's work to turn the State Street garage into a mixed-use building that includes a intercity bus terminal, parking, retail, and student housing. Coming up, our Kyrian Lee is discussing healthy weight in this weekend's health conversation with SSM Health's Dr. Rupa Shah.
But first, we're going to be seeing some pretty big temperature swings this week. I'll talk more about it coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Time to check in with our first warned meteorologist, Jacob Montesano. What are we expecting? What are we looking for?
Well, we're going to see more of these temperature swings that we've seen over the past 2 weeks. Here's a look at the high temperatures over the past 2 weeks. Red days indicate above normal, blue days below normal. Had a very cold start to the new year, and then we had very mild temperatures last week. Highs were in the 50s last Thursday and Friday, and we're going to see more of these these up and down temperatures. Now, looking at January as a whole so far, the last week has really brought the average high up, and we were now 6.5 degrees above normal for January, although that number is going to come down once we get towards the end of the 10-day forecast, because although we're going to warm up for Monday, Tuesday, we're going to see those temperatures plummeting back down Tuesday into Wednesday, and then they're going to drop further as we head into next weekend with potentially some bitterly cold days, as we could see wind chills maybe below zero for a few mornings.
And now here's Kyrian Lee and Dr. Rupa Shah with your health conversations.
While the classic formula of eating less and moving more typically leads to weight loss for most healthy adults, the process can sometimes be more complex than simply counting calories and exercising. This morning, wellness coach and SSM Health family medicine physician Dr. Rupa Shah joins us to explain why weight loss can be complicated and how various medical interventions can support effective weight management. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
So Dr. Shah, you have a special certification in obesity medicine. Right. So let's start there. What are some factors that might make weight loss difficult for some people?
So the first thing I think to keep in mind is that you said it quite well, that it is a very complex interplay of hormones, genetics, epigenetics even. So it's not just calories in, calories out anymore. We know there's a lot going on in the brain with all different hunger hormones, leptin, ghrelin, and they are all talking to each other, and there's a lot of feedback as well. So it makes it a very difficult thing for some people to lose weight effectively and maintain that weight loss. In addition, if you add in certain medical conditions that people have, such as sleep apnea or depression, that can make it harder to lose weight. Certain medications you may be on for high blood pressure, diabetes even, those can make it harder to lose weight. And if you're a female going through menopause, we're aging, those hormonal changes can be a difficult time as well. So you add all of that and it makes it very difficult to lose weight.
Yes, so lots of contributing factors here.
Exactly.
So over the past few years, we've heard a lot about GLP-1 medications like Wegovy and Ozempic. So how do these medications work?
So the GLPs are glucagon-like peptide, and they bind to that receptor, and they basically enhance and boost your natural insulin. So they make it work better, so you get better glucose control. But they also work by slowing down how quickly your stomach empties, which is called gastric emptying. So once we slow that down, you feel fuller for longer, in essence, eating less, losing weight. Now, while these medications are wonderful, and we're seeing about 15 to 20% weight loss in a lot of folks with lifestyle measures, they do come with some side effects. That we see a lot of GI issues with them initially for some folks, nausea, constipation, diarrhea sometimes, and then we can see some more serious things like pancreatitis, gallstone issues, gallbladder issues, things like that as well. But overall, they're very safe and very effective for the right person. It's really, I kind of describe them as the key that unlocks certain people's biology. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So. I know there's lots of things surrounding them, so just to see how they're unfolding over the years is interesting.
But also to remember that they aren't meant to be used by themselves, and lifestyle measures like good fitness and good nutrition is really key, because we are seeing people losing a lot of muscle mass as they're using these medications, and we call that sarcopenia. And as we know, that when we age, we want to maintain our muscle mass and not lose muscle mass.
Exactly. And so are there other medical interventions people can or should consider for weight loss?
Absolutely. There are a lot of different medications out there that we use for weight loss. Many of these are more aimed at suppressing the appetite, but they're also very good and effective for some people who need to lose maybe not quite as much weight. The other thing that's really popular as well right now and very, very effective is the gastric sleeve procedure and gastric bypass. Now, these are really excellent surgical procedures that lead to a lifelong change in the biology and help people maintain that weight loss for years to come. And in the right patient, they can be an excellent option, especially at places that are centers of excellence.
Absolutely. So what is the first step for patients who think they would benefit from weight loss support using medication or even other procedures like you've mentioned?
Exactly. The first step is just speaking to your physician to see what kind of resources they can put you in touch with, right? So if your clinic has a weight management program, that could be a place to start. Seeing a nutritionist or a dietitian to get those healthy nutrition habits in place. Or seeing a lifestyle medicine specialist like myself who can really give you that more individualized, holistic approach, because it's not a one-size-fits-all, right? Everybody needs a different approach to their weight loss. You need a look at what medications are you taking, what underlying medical conditions may we have missed, what's contributing to your weight loss, what's preventing the weight loss, right? So that takes this very precise look at an individual and then deciding what is the best next steps for them.
Yes, because there's many different things for many different people that could work better than others.
Exactly.
All right, well, Dr. Shaw, you're always dropping gems. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Wellness with Dr. Shaw.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Ladies, thank you. Still ahead on Weekend Morning, Sports Director Andrew Banstra talking Packers-Bears with senior Packers writer Jason Wilde after the tough loss yesterday. Plus, Jacob brings you the full forecast when we come back. But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, let us know. We'd be happy to share their picture on TV and wish them a happy birthday. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
Welcome back. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We're going to see those temperatures warming back up for tomorrow. A few other chances of mixed precipitation this week, but then we will see those cooler temperatures return by the end of the week and especially next weekend. But for today, certainly on the colder side, but very January-like, highs in the upper 20s, maybe some lower 30s. A decent amount of sunshine. Also could see mostly cloudy skies at other points of the day. We'll see mostly cloudy skies tonight as the winds shift out of the southwest, which will help or prevent those temperatures from falling too far, as lows will only be in the middle 20s, and then those southwesterly winds will help warm the temperatures up tomorrow with highs near 40, and we will see plenty of sunshine. From there, temperatures will continue warming up for Tuesday, but then they will drop back down for Wednesday and continue to be on the colder side through the end of the week. Highs near 30 for Wednesday through Friday, but then we are going to see highs in the teens by next weekend, and we could even see some wind chills below 0. Now, as we take a look at the precipitation chances this week, minor chance of some snow later this evening and overnight for areas north of Madison. Most of it will stay north of our area entirely across northern Wisconsin. Then as we get towards Monday, we're going to be dry during the day. Small chance of light rain late in the night. Once again, best chance will be for areas north of Madison, where northern Wisconsin could see some more snowfall from it. And then as we get towards Wednesday, we'll see some of that snow kind of make its way down south across southern Wisconsin. Not expecting anything to be too heavy, but we definitely could see maybe a light dusting to about a ½ inch of snow accumulation. Then as we get towards Thursday and Friday, there's a little bit of a better chance of snow, especially during the day on Friday as a little bigger system moves through our area. And right now we definitely could see some accumulation, although it doesn't look like we're going to see a massive amount. We'll continue keeping an eye on the potential for that, but it looks like there is a good chance of snow on Friday nonetheless. Looking at the 10-day forecast, starting with La Crosse, again, I guess the bigger story, considering we're not going to see a ton of precipitation, will be those swings in temperatures. So January-like today, 40s tomorrow and Tuesday, highs in the upper 20s to near 30 Wednesday through Friday, then teens for next weekend and into next week with low temperatures in the single digits. Possibly some wind chills below 0. So by the time we get to next weekend, it may be the first time since that mid-December time frame where we see a few days in a row of very cold temperatures. Not expecting alert day conditions, at least not yet, but the temperatures are continuing to trend colder during that time period. We also will see some of those winds pick up as those temperatures fall, especially on Wednesday. And again, minor chances of snowfall or rainfall in the case of Tuesday for the middle of the week, with a better chance of that precipitation and snowfall for the day on Friday.
It does not get a whole lot better than the Bears and the Packers in the postseason. Last night at Soldier Field, a dream season for Chicago, and those Bears hosting a Packers squad who limped into the postseason. But in the playoffs, it was a clean slate, and the Packers proved that from the jump, leading 14-3 in the second quarter, and they'd keep adding to it. If you were wondering if Jordan Love would have any rust on him, he brought out out the WD-40. He finds Romeo Dobbs in QB1's third touchdown of the first half. Made it look like this was going to be an easy upset victory, but not so fast. With less than 2 minutes in the game, another Bears comeback. When it looked like it was impossible, Caleb Williams pulled another rabbit out of the hat, giving Chicago a 31-27 lead, and the Packers had one more chance driving down the field. Love heaves a final prayer, and it's not answered. The Bears stun the Packers in a devastating loss, 31-27, the final score.
I don't even have any words, man. I really don't.
I mean, it sucks, you know, seeing my brothers like this, but I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's hard to look at the bright side after that.
Well, I know I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, so I know most likely it's gonna hit me when I get in my bed, and I just sit there and start replaying everything. And I think the hardest day is gonna be tomorrow, seeing the guys. And knowing that we're not, you know, preparing for another week, so, yeah.
And now we bring in our senior Packers writer, Jason Wilde. Jason, it's cold out here. It was last night. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing, but there is no pun for what happened to the Packers. What did happen?
Yeah, the cold reality is for the second time in 3 weeks, they gave away a game against the Bears. And you know, I was talking to a few players in the locker room afterward, and I asked Evan Williams this. Is it an immaturity? You know, they believe so much in this young roster idea. They seem too immature to deal with both the good when you're having success, when you're up 21-3, and how to deal with the adversity on how to stop the bleeding when the Bears are coming on. And now this has happened twice, and this has far-reaching consequences when you lose a game this way.
A devastating, shocking loss that is hard to put into words, but we'll try to do that in our digital exclusive. Head over to channel3000.com for that. For Jason Wilde, I'm Andrew Banstra, signing off from Soldier Field.
And still ahead on weekend mornings, it's milk, the national day. We'll tell you more about it. Plus, here's a look at what's to come on For the Record.
Coming up on For the Record, allegations of fraud in Minnesota have led the federal government to halt some funding for childcare. But what does it mean for Wisconsin? Plus, more communities across our state are speaking out against proposed AI data centers, how a new bill could strengthen protections for Wisconsinites. That's ahead this morning on For the Record at 10:30. You're watching Weekend Mornings.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. It's now time to celebrate the beverage that goes so well with cookies. Today is National Milk Day. It celebrates the day milk was delivered in glass bottles for the first time. During the Middle Ages, people called milk the virtuous white liqueur. In 1863, a French chemist and biologist invented pasteurization. That made it possible to store milk for extended periods. Another fun fact, the U.S., along with Australia, exports more milk and milk products than any other country. And as for health benefits, milk delivers calcium, potassium, vitamins A, B, and 12. You can celebrate the day by enjoying a glass of milk, or you can make a milkshake. You know, Jacob, a fun fact is my family used to drive up from Chicago to Wisconsin to get bad milk and butter.
That's funny.
I'm not even kidding you.
The older I get, the less I like milk by itself. But obviously, you can't go wrong with milkshakes or milk with hot chocolate. That's always a good combination.
You can never go wrong with milk like that.
Milk is also great with cookies, as you mentioned, and obviously, it's good with a lot of stuff.
Santa would definitely agree.
Yeah.
Now to our morning motivational quote from Demi Lovato.
Nothing is more beautiful than the smile that has struggled through the tears. And, you know, we always are talking about, you know, getting through that struggle, and as we could see, you know, you definitely could have some of those tears during it, but once you get through the hump, it gets a lot better.
Yes, absolutely. And so this is our motivation for you guys at home. There is nothing more beautiful than the smile, and it's okay if there are tears and struggles along the way. You've got this.
Now let's take a final look at your 10-day forecast. We are going to see a very January-like Sunday. Then we'll see the warm-up for Monday and Tuesday. By the time we get to the middle of the week, we are going to see a cool down with a few small chances of snow better chance of snow once we get towards the end of the week, and then it's going to get even colder for next weekend. And we could be talking about some more bitterly cold temperatures, which we haven't seen that consistently since mid-December, but that may return for next weekend.
All right, thanks for watching Weekend Mornings. Tune in next Saturday live at 5 and 8 a.m. Coming up next is CBS Sunday Morning, followed by Face the Nation. And For the Record, our next newscast is at 5:30 p.m. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a great weekend.